Next, we're going to make a road cut into the platform that the city is sitting on, and that's that big blue shape here that I've got in my scene. And as always, keep in mind that you're going to be making your scene. This is just the method to get something interesting going on, so we just don't have this flat surface here. And I'm going to suggest here on mine a highway that's on ground level that's going north to south here across my entire platform. So I'm going to use the spline tool with sweep in a similar way we made the road, and then we're going to use a Boolean operation. So let's go over to our Create tab, make sure we're in Shapes, and start with a line, and just make something that's going through some of these buildings, or around the buildings, I mean, and create something like that. Right-click to exit line creation, back to the Modify tab, drop down to Vertex, make any modifications you want, and remember, the less vertices the better. That's a principle in modeling. Drop down modifier list, and it's going to be SW to get to sweep quickly. Hit enter, and then right now I'm in built-in section, and I'm going to change it to bar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to widen this road so it's about the width of my main highway that I created, and I'm going to now look at it in the perspective view. Okay, so keep in mind what we're about here is making a Boolean cut. Now I'm going to select my perimeter and note that I have a negative extrude of 8 inches, which we know is actually 8 feet, which would not be a bad depth for this cut. Okay, this is a large highway. It's probably going to cut into the surrounding region pretty far. So I'm going to just increase my length, they're calling it, to 8 inches, which is 8 feet. So that's going to not quite really go down, because this is going up and down. So it's really 4 feet. So I'm going to increase this to just visually match the depth of the platform of the city. I'm going to click on the platform of the city now and bring that extrude down farther, because I really just need this to cut into it enough. And if I think I needed to make other cuts that were, say, deeper, then I would bring this down farther. But for my purposes, this is really adequate. So I'm going to first change my perimeter, or convert it to an editable poly, which is something I want to do before I work on the Boolean. Now I don't actually have to change the spline to an editable poly, because the Pro Boolean is going to take care of that business. Back to Create, back to Geometry, make sure we're in Compound Objects, not Standard Primitives. Click on Pro Boolean, and this time, instead of union, we want subtraction. Okay, start picking, and then click on the ground level road, and there we go. That's our road cut, and it's going to be a little bit more dramatic even later when we add the materials to it. Now keep in mind, you can do all sort of other things into your surface, and they could be very simple. I'd like you to be creative with this. You can select simply standard primitives and move them around into the ground, so it's not just, very simple flat sort of surfaces, but something that's broken up. And we're going to be getting to materials shortly, so you're going to be able to have these things match up pretty nicely. So make this interesting, make raised shapes, you can make cut shapes, and give it a go. Once again, just to look really briefly at what I made before, we have something like this, where we see they're cut in, so you can see the little shadows. I also have raised pieces, and what is this? It's just nothing but some splines that are set to have viewable attributes. So once again, let's just look at that really quick. I'm making some line shapes, or they could be some of these preset shapes, but like if I was making some line shape like here, and maybe this is going around a cluster of buildings, who knows, I hit close spline there, and I set the spline to enable and render in viewport. See, without it looks like this. I can change the sides down to something like 4, for example, and then when I move that in, and then maybe or maybe not, I don't even think I really need to move it down. That could have been around a building or a series of buildings. See where we're going with this? So you're very free to be able to get what you need into your surface. It doesn't have to be just a sort of a boring flat surface. Okay, we've got materials and cameras and lights and vehicles ahead of us.